Welcome to Season 3 of On the Spot at PCC, your go-to source for what's happening around Portland Community College. We're diving into some big changes and new spaces, from the academic affairs restructure, updates in PSEC, to goats and guide dogs, and everything in between. Stay tuned. We're bringing you the stories that shape our work, our students, and our future right here on the spot.
What if your first year of college was the hardest year of your life? For many first-generation students, that's the reality. But a new program at Portland Community College is trying to change that. I'm Misty Bouse, PCC's Marketing and Communications Specialist. Today's guests are Laurie, Dean of College Success Programs, and Program Coordinator Jana Daugherty. They're here to talk to you about the first-year experience. Josh and Jana, welcome to On the Spot at PCC.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Let's start with the big picture. Why launch the First Year Experience program in these times?
So Misty, first, thanks for having us. This is great. When we started First Year Experience, one of the things that we looked at is how students start their time at PCC. And that's kind of a make or break for a lot of students, that first term, that second term, that ultimately first year. So that creating a sense of belonging and connection for us, for the students, is super important. We also had a program, Future Connect, that was doing that on a small scale. And so we had the opportunity to scale something to all students who were starting, and specifically those who had first-generation background. So it was a prime opportunity, and the college really invested in it to make this happen.
That sounds fantastic. How long have we had Future Connect?
Future Connect has been around since 2011.
Oh, very good. Now, what else can you tell us about how it's student-centered?
Well, it's student-centered because we build on how the student connects to individuals at the college. We have texting, we have a curriculum, and we have a coach. And those coaches are connected to a lot of different parts of the college, but those coaches are key. And when a student, before they even start, receives a text from a first-year experience coach, a first-year experience coach texts that student, and then they feel some kind of connection before they start.
Very good. So it's a strong student start coming to PCC.
Absolutely.
Is there a tie to other pathways at the college?
One of the interesting things that we started out, now this pilot is only a year old, so we started a pilot last year where we had 4 coaches connect to all the students, about 2,500 students. And I think Jana will probably talk a little bit about the specifics of the program. But this year what we did is we connected 6 coaches to every guided pathway. So now they have a very specific pathway that they're connected to. And thanks to the advising teams at the college, those first-year experience coaches are embedded in those pathways. So a student who applies to PCC who may want to do nursing now has a first-year experience coach who knows a little bit more about that pathway and what they need to do even before they start there at the college.
So about the coaches and the guided pathways, I'm wondering if you could tell us a little more about those 6 pathways.
Oh, the 6, that sounds like a test, Jana. That's up to you, I think.
Here we go. Okay, I didn't realize a pop quiz would be involved, but I got this. So the way these pathways are named in the student affairs side is arts, communication, humanities, and design, business and entrepreneurship, construction, manufacturing, technology, and transportation, healthcare and emergency professions, public service, education, and social sciences, and science, technology, engineering, and math.
Wow, nice job. So another reason that we think now is a key point for FYE is because we are at a turning point in higher ed where we have both like declining enrollments and pressures in some areas, and then we have new opportunities with like federal, state, and philanthropic funding. PCC specifically has seen an opportunity to invest in this to, well, quite frankly, strategic enrollment. This helps enrollment, but it also helps the student experience. So those 2 kind of convergence of interests are coming together to really support students holistically through the first term and the first year.
That's fantastic to hear. We sure need that enrollment support. Okay, so what strengths do first-generation students bring to the first year of college, and how can we support them in navigating common barriers to success for the students?
Yeah, I would say first-generation students show up as really brave. They are taking this huge leap of faith by being the first person in their family to go to college. And our college community is so much better because of all of the first-generation students who are in our PCC community. College can be intimidating for anybody, and even the process to get enrolled could be challenging, let alone continuing to do classes and navigate financial aid and figure out resources and kind of life challenges that come up for students. And so our coaches, our first-year experience coaches, provide holistic wraparound support to every single student. We know that being in class is important, and we know that getting your basic needs met is important, and knowing where to find help and support and that sense of belonging and that sense of connection are also really important. And so coaches kind of support the whole student, not just the individual in class, but kind of the whole human with this holistic wraparound support that is, as Josh mentioned, is kind of paired with their pathway advisor. So it's kind of this team approach to supporting students.
Did that model come out of Future Connect?
Yes, Future Connect informed 100% directly the formation of first-year experience.
So what will students receive as part of the first-year experience?
Yeah, so if you're a student in your first-year experience, you have a college coach to support your success. And I think that's the heart of what we're trying to do in first-year experience is that coach-student relationship. Coaches reach out to students weekly, so students can expect a message from their coach every week. Usually it's a text message. Most students tell us that's what they prefer. And coaches text students weekly to check in and see how they're doing and see how things are going and to offer up some bite-sized, just-in-time piece of information. So maybe an event on campus or a resource that's critical at that point in the term or an offer to help with their FAFSA or stuff for next year, whatever it might be that students need. The support is two-way, so students can text back to their coach. And so there's a lot of problem solving and kind of ongoing question answering. Even if students don't engage with every single text that our coaches send, they know they are not alone on this journey, and they know who to reach out to if they do hit a roadblock or have some sort of burning question. And all of that is also integrated with our first-year experience course. So all FYE students have access to our FYE learning activity in D2L. It's modeled on our college success courses here at PCC. The content is very much directly connected to what those courses offer. But the way we've set up this FYE course is it's built as a game. Every week, a new level opens up, 15 minutes of a student's time. They can earn the badge for that level. And it's incentivized with scholarships for students who participate and complete all levels. They have the chance to be awarded one of our FYE winter term scholarships.
That is fascinating. I know that students love gaming. And so you're getting them where they really enjoy that sweet spot. And it also sounds like you're making a warm and welcoming place here with the coaches, the text check-ins, and that course sounds really fun even. So I want to ask, how do the students get matched with a coach? And what will that relationship look like over the course of a year?
So in our pilot year last year, we tried to match students with coaches based on campus that we believed the student would be attending. And this year we've shifted where students are matched with a coach based on the pathway the student is in. And so each of our 6 coaches are embedded in one of our 6 academic and career pathways here at PCC.
What if English is not their first language? Does that alter this at all?
2 of our coaches are bilingual, Spanish and English, and bicultural as well. And we do have students who prefer to communicate with their coach, in Spanish, and often we text back and forth with students in Spanish. With that said, we're not able to support all ESOL lower level students currently, that we're not equipped to do that at this point. But any credit student is part of FYE, and we really acknowledge and respect and love it when students feel comfortable communicating with us in Spanish and our coaches can respond in Spanish.
That is great to hear. What kind of guidance or support will the students get in terms of navigating PCC, its many campuses, and finding their way in our community?
I think we approach it as this is the student's very first time being a college student anywhere, and we don't expect that they know the vocabulary, that they understand how to do all of our many processes. And so, I think we send out the messages and the information that we think students need at that point in the term, and then we are just so open to what students write back to us. And, there's all kinds of questions that we're getting right now about navigating like DNP and financial aid and being on a wait list for a class and how to make that how to get into that class. And so I think we just really are warm and welcoming, and our team is incredible. We are campus-based, so we're always available to meet with students in person or virtually, whatever they need. And we really do focus on helping students connect to community. So we'll send out fun announcements about events. We invite students to come meet us in person at any point.
Well, I can understand that that's so helpful having someone who knows how it works, because all the acronyms we use, finding signs, finding the right physical space, it would just be so helpful to have like a sibling on campus, a friend, a cousin, anyone who knows how to get it done. So I just want to say that's fantastic to hear we're providing that. So next I want to ask, who is eligible to participate in the first year experience, and how will they be identified or enrolled? How does this work?
Yeah. So our first year, our pilot year last year, we served all first time in college, first generation students under the age of 25. So as Josh mentioned, that was about 2,500 students. This year, we are scaling up quite a bit. We learned so much last year, and everything that we're doing this year is informed by what we learned last year. And so this year, for fall 2025, we're serving all first-time in college students. So that means every student who's new to PCC who doesn't have experience of attending any college prior. We anticipate that'll be about 5,000 students this year. What's important, I think, is students don't have to know about this in advance. They don't have to apply or seek us out. We just identify them through our own student data systems and reach out directly to them. Students have the autonomy to engage as much or as little as they would like with first year experience. Like we reach out to them, and some students don't find that welcome. But we've been really thrilled so far this year with how engaged students are, how they're expressing, how helpful it is to have a coach text them and check in and see if they're ready for the first day of classes and see what they need and see what their questions are. Last year, we had about 50% of the students who we were working with actively and regularly communicate with their coach. So we were thrilled with that. And I think this year, we're looking at even higher engagement rates.
That's a good embrace, quite a good welcome from the students that they appreciated this. Glad the pilot went well like that. So let me ask, we know this program must take resources, right? So I'm wondering if you could talk about the funding model behind first year experience. How does this program get supported at the college?
It's a great question. And as Jana talks about all the champions that are working directly with students face to face, I can tell you there are equally as many working behind the scenes at the college to raise resources for these students. So we have the college itself invested a tremendous amount of dollars from strategic enrollment management, right? Those are general fund dollars supporting this. And equally, the foundation is supporting this through philanthropic outreach. We have donors who have given $500,000. We have foundations like OCF and Meyer Memorial Trust also backing this. And so that kind of braided a funding approach creates a whole, how should I say, diversification of supports and resources for this program to exist and be sustained. Much of that learning has come from how we've raised dollars and funding for resources for Future Connect as well. So some of the things that we learned on the fundraising side for Future Connect are also translating to how we work with FYE.
So it worked over there. It's going to work here too. And
that's our hope, yeah.
Quite a stake. Everyone has a stake. The community is quite involved then. Individuals, the PCC Foundation, our funding partners like Oregon Community Foundation. Who else was that, Josh?
Meyer Memorial Trust.
Meyer Memorial Trust. Fantastic. They sure stand by us a lot.
They do.
Okay, so I'm wondering, that braided funding, you won't have, that gives you a broader network of support, more stability, like a three-legged stool, right?
Yeah.
It stands better over time?
Yeah, and I think what we've found in some of my experience raising funds and soft money programs is that sometimes if you just have one grant, if that grant goes away or that funding goes away, or maybe that leadership component that leads that grant goes away, sometimes those programs go away. And we don't want to put the students in a place where the funding goes away and their supports go away instantly. What we want to do is diversify the funding in a way that makes this program more sustainable. Also, FYE is large. We're serving, as Jana said, almost 5,000 students this fall. That does take resources. And those 5,000 students aren't just coming from one regional location. They're coming from all over Oregon as first-time in college students. And so we want to make sure that our communities know that we're serving all of those individuals, and also that support can come from those communities across the state.
It really does show our college's commitment to the program, that the foundation is working on this as a support, and then the private donorship is just really nice to hear how many people are vested in this.
Absolutely. I mean, focusing on enrollment is one thing and focusing on student support is another thing, but those two things can work hand in hand to create a better environment, sense of belonging for new students. So it's not so much we're just increasing enrollment or we're just making the student experience better. Those two things can work in concert with one another to make the experience for all students here better.
It's nice to hear that we can put out a welcome mat like this and make us a warm and friendly place that we feel we are. We get to be who we want to be as a college, I think, speaking as a member of staff. What was the goal that you had with last year's pilot? Do you feel like your measurement of success is in place for 25-26 based on the pilot year?
Absolutely. I think when we started this, we knew what best practices were, and we knew what the percentage of students who were retaining from fall to fall and fall to winter and GPA, all these what we call KPIs, key performance indicators for Future Connect. We knew what those were. We didn't know how they would scale to a larger endeavor, right? So if in Future Connect we were serving 350 students ostensibly, and now we're going to serve 2,500, we started to just think like, okay, what would be an audacious goal to set? So we set goals for retention, GPA, credit completion, 6 credit, 12 credit, and 36 credit over the course of the year, as well as 24 credit, And those are all aligned with PCC's larger strategic KPIs as well that align with the state, right? So we set goals that were in line with all of these pieces. And we hit almost all of those goals for our group of 2,500. So we were really encouraged by that. And I think that's why we expanded this next group. So moving from the pilot of 2,500, we initially thought we might serve 3,000, 4,000. Now we're serving over 4,000. We anticipate around 5,000. So we set those same goals for this group. And we removed the first generation piece. So we have all first time in college because we know that is an unseen identity that's absolutely essential in supporting. So we'll see. It's only the first year. We have some data. We're working with the college to get more data. And we hope we have strong indicators that this year should follow last year.
Well, that sounds really promising, and you guys have done a great job. I'm so glad you went from the pilot and now you're rolling it out, and to all those that are their first time in college. I want to ask if you have a special student story, either of you, that you would like to share anytime that you've been at PCC. And if you'll say how long you've been here, that would also help us to know a little bit about your background.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've been at PCC for about 20 years, so that's quite a while. Over the course of my time here, it's been so incredibly rewarding to get to be part of so many students' journeys. And I just am so inspired by the students who I meet every single day, as I think almost all of us in student affairs are, and for sure our FYE team is. In addition to the kind of qualitative data that Josh was talking about, the KPIs, we did some surveys last year of our first year experience to gather some quantitative data, and it was so rewarding to see what students had to say about it. And I loved getting to read some of their just really honest feedback about how much it meant to them to have somebody who cared about them, who reached out really intentionally and thoughtfully and repeatedly to them. And so one student kind of stands out. Last year, she was FYE. We brought her into FYE first year experience. Her name was Singh. She was an online student, and I think it would have been really easy for her to never set foot on campus. Even though she lived in the Portland area, she just, all of her classes were online. And her coach, Roselia, repeatedly kind of invited her to events, and Singh shared how much that meant to her to kind of be invited to come participate as a community with other PCC students. So she came to events, got to meet a number of other PCC students. She became a strong leader on campus. She came with us to the PCC Day at the Capitol and spoke out in support of PCC. And I just think a little bit about how her first year here at PCC might have looked really different without that kind of invitation and that really just direct reaching out. And she might have just maybe been slightly more isolated or not come to campus quite as often without the support and the encouragement from her coach. So and of course our PCC community is much richer for having Singh as part of it and kind of her leadership on campus as well. So I think it's a huge win for both Singh and for PCC to have her involvement.
So much more than retention when you put a face on it like that and share a story. And there are a lot of people who have timidity and reasons for not being on campus, and they work jobs, and it's just so nice to get a special invitation to encourage them to come out and meet their peers. This program is pretty neat. Well, also I was wondering, as an employee, like other employees here, we're probably wondering, how can we help with first-year experience? Because we have hearts for students and face-to-face contact and know them. So what are faculty, advisors, and staff? How can they partner with first-year experience?
FYE is going to be an attribute, like a little code in the rosters, right? And so that will show our faculty who is a first-in-college student and who's in the first-year experience. We were very intentional about including faculty because we know faculty bump into the students more than most staff at this college. They're seeing them in their classes, in their Zoom spaces, and knowing that is a real great way to normalize that experience.
So when you say roster, you mean the class list?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. So it's like right on there, coded on it?
Exactly. And this is one of, I know we're getting into how staff and faculty support students, but this is one of those unseen things that we were able to do over the course of the last year when we started to work with faculty, and they shared how important it was to be able to know who was in this program. And we haven't done this before at PCC, but we had these attributes added to the roster. So when you ask about how people can get involved, knowing that and seeing that on their class roster, that's one way to get involved. And then normalize what that means for a student who's in your space, recognizing that that experience as a first-time in college student may be slightly different than a student who's returning to college who has 65 credits and has done this before. So normalizing the experience is really important, and kind of integrating that into activities and being aware of that for the students is important. And then just generally making connections. Quite frankly, for us, in FYE, creating a sense of belonging comes down to making connections and understanding what a first-year experience is, what first time in college means, what first generation means. Being able to make connections all around that is super important for all of our students. So as I said, faculty bump into our students more than most here. And one thing that we've learned over the course of, the decade and a half of doing this work at PCC, we have faculty who have been themselves first time in college and first generation students themselves. That's an unseen identity. Normalizing that to students that I was once in the space that you were at is really key. And so students can then see ostensibly what they want to be as well. So part of that experience is just like letting students know I was where you were at. And we know so many faculty already do that. And also we want to raise up that identity as a first-time college, first-generation student who also is in this program. So I think just making it normal and part of the experience opposed to, this is a special identity that needs support. Students are here making this place better. And so we want to let them know that.
With that warmth and outreach, it really is going to build trust, it sounds like, and help the students persist in their plans.
Absolutely.
What's the best way for an employee to stay updated on the program as you guys are rolling it out?
Anyone can go to our website, and we are putting updates there frequently. You can see which coach is connected to which pathway. You can meet our team of coaches. There's a form on our website that you can fill out if you'd like to stay involved and receive regular updates from us. Anyone is also welcome to reach out to Josh or I at any time. And we love talking to FYE. We love talking how we can kind of all work together as a community to support all of our students. So we welcome any kind of questions, concerns, suggestions, anything like that.
So that's great, Jana. You can interact on the form that's on the site. Okay, I did not know that was there. That's good to know. I'm so appreciative that you've come to share, and you're so passionate about this really important work. And I'm just wondering if you have any final thoughts for the PCC community as you begin to launch first-year experience.
I can share from my perspective. I just feel so honored to be part of a program where you get to see how excited students are to start something. And that's not something everyone gets to experience, but when I kind of get to go and see some of those texts and the response before the term starts where a student just simply says, "Thank you for this text. I'm so excited for next week." That is a really special thing to kind of peek into and see how excited students are coming to this large institution that serves thousands of students. And these individuals are excited to be there. And we have staff, everyone from everyone who does every type of classification here, excited to support them.
Oh my gosh, so good to keep that. I remember that myself as a student. Josh and Jana, thanks so much for coming and joining us on the spot.
Thanks, Misty.
Thanks for having us.
If you want to learn more about the First Year Experience program, visit pcc.edu FIRST, FIRST -year. Again, that's FIRST-year, or connect with a College Success Program team. And thank you for tuning in to On the Spot. We'll see you next time.